My question to you, Logan. Florida State obviously had a big signing day back in February, big in the transfer portal, bringing in a bunch of guys coming in. Will Florida State get anyone next week? Florida State just kind of maybe set this one up.
I don't think it will be as wild, definitely now that we have early sign day, but this one might have a commitment coming in for Florida State, and it might be even before we get to that date. I'm keeping an eye on Tawaski Abrams. He is a 4-star wide receiver out of Fort Myers, Florida, in that 2024 class. A very, very speedy wide receiver. He had a 2-day trip over the weekend. Our guy Dustin was there whenever he came in to Tallahassee, and out of the vibe and things that he's hearing, Dustin put it in our Discord, Jason, into the Discord. He mentioned that, Florida State, LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Penn State, Texas A&M, and even FAMU are in his top 8, but right now feels pretty strongly in Florida State's favor with Ron Dugan's and Mike Norvell's offense. It attracts him quite a bit. That's a guy that I'd probably keep an eye on heading into this 2024 class. There might be some other ones that jump up. We're just waiting for a few more interviews to kind of get a feel for who might end up maybe being a surprise pick to go in FSU's favor, but one that we're keeping a close eye on, not that it would affect this 2023 class, but a 2024 really speedy wide receiver from down south is Tawaski Abrams. Really interesting name too. I like it, but Florida State being able to show what they can do with players. We had a lot of newcomer interviews this week. We'll have some more tomorrow morning, but something that I got from Vendravius Jacobs, Florida State's wide receiver that is a freshman coming in, early enrollee. He said, one thing that attracted him picking Florida State was the variety and different ways you're going to be able to eat. He said, in quote, eat on the offense. And, Florida State being able to do that, what a lot of their playmakers this year is what is starting to attract these playmakers. And with Abrams comes speed. And that's something that Florida State certainly, I would say, lacks in their offense. I couldn't really name someone that I'm like, oh my goodness, if he has open space, he's bye-bye. And as Mark, and Jason in college football, that can be the change of a game and a switch like that. So I do feel like Florida State's in a good spot here from what my guy Dustin is telling me. And that's someone to keep a very close eye on for a potential pop really soon. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's can be a game changer in one blink of an eye, or if it's not, it might be affecting all the other plays because there's so much focus on the defense going that way that it opens up other things and you're able to do so much more because you've got that one guy that draws that kind of attention. This Tawaski Abrams, yes, Logan said 5'11", 175, top 300 player in the composite, top 45 wide receiver in the composite, top 36 is his ranking in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, one player I will say that you will not have going into this next year, Ontario Wilson, Pokey, he was a guy that was explosive and had the speed, and we saw that last year. We saw what he did against LSU, and we saw what he was able to do against a couple of other teams throughout the season, and that changed the game for Florida State in a lot of ways, and was able to put points on the board just because of him being open and JT kind of getting better with that deep ball, connecting well. And you don't have Ontario Wilson anymore. I would say the closest, probably speed-wise, would be Ja'Kai Douglas, who's going to be returning for Florida State. Was originally at the running back position, kind of mix of a hybrid now, specifically at wide receiver. But, Florida State trying to look for some speed here because they've got the size now. That's something that they don't have to worry about as much anymore. But some speed to break the top off, on a defense, that's something Florida State can look to do to add on to their arsenal moving forward. But this is a 2024 guy wouldn't affect this year's class coming in. Vendravius Jacobs is a sleeper wide receiver that's coming into Florida State this year. He's already enrolled. He's a guy that's going to have to put on a little bit of size, but he's also got the advantage of being elusive. And I think Abrams is kind of in that same realm a little bit. Same kind of size, 175. height, around the same, nothing too wild measurements wise, but route running, crisp, kind of like how Kenny Shaw was, who a lot of FSU fans in the comments know very well. Don't have to be the biggest guy to change the game. And, Abrams and Jacobs, I kind of see what Florida State's trying to add in their unit moving forward for the next couple of years. So that's a guy that I'd keep an eye on to potentially be the next FSU commit, and definitely in that 2024 class to add on to already one of the most talented in the country. There's a lot to like.